Okay, good morning. So I decided to come on and do a little video this morning because I had done this movie theater analogy, and there were some people who are interested in kind of like, I think sometimes when I talk it out, I talk it better than I do when I type it. So, and I am not the original creator of this analogy. I believe that I heard it from Jen Sincero. She is the author of the Badass book series. They're really good books too, by the way. You should read them. But this is where I got this analogy from, and I kind of ran with it. So, in regards to the people in your life and yourself and the struggles you may have with, I know I've struggled in my life with perception and the way I have perceived people and the way people who have perceived me, particularly the way people have perceived me my whole life, has not been in the way that I feel I truly am. And I just didn't understand why. I could never understand why that was until I realized that, everybody, sorry, I'm picking hairs off myself. Everybody sees the world through their own lens, of experience, of life, of traumas. Their glasses are in a sense colored. So, I think some people may have heard, you can take the same situation and have two people in it and they see it both two completely different ways. So with the movie theater analogy, picture yourself walking into this grand movie theater with this long hallway. You all know those movie theaters have the really long hallways, and there's doors on, along the whole thing. And you look at door one and you look at the movie and you go, that looks interesting. And you go in there and there's nobody in the theater except for one person. And you walk up and it's you. And you're like, oh, I know this person. And you sit down and you watch and you're like, I totally know this movie. You know all the characters in this movie. There's your mom and there's your brother and there's your friend and there's that person you met at the grocery store that one day. And, you're like, okay, this is totally familiar to me. And you watch for a little bit and you're like, all right. And you venture out and you go to the next movie theater. You say, I'm going to check out what this movie is. And you walk in and there's nobody in the theater except for one person. And it's your mom. And you're like, oh, I know my mom. Okay, cool. So you sit down and you start watching the movie and you're like, so all these people look like, that looks like me and that looks like my brother and that looks like my cat, but nobody is behaving in the way they're supposed to in your movie. And you're like, what the hell is going on? And you look and you're like, oh my God, is that my mom? And she's completely different. And then you look at yourself and you're like, I don't do that. I don't act like that. Like that's not what I was thinking when that happened. It's because your mom or whoever is in the movie theater at that point sees you and your behaviors through their own lens. So, those people can only see you, A, like I said, through their own experiences. And B, they can only meet you where they're at. So if you look at life on a scale, and there's, you go from 0 to 1,000, and it's not good or bad, and it's not who's higher or lower. It's just the scale of ascension. You just want to move up, but you've got to go through you have to go through all the numbers, and it's not good or bad. Everybody has to go through all the numbers. So, if your mom is at 400 and you're at 650, she can only meet you at 400. She can't meet you at 650. She has to bring you down to 400. So your behaviors are going to be at the 400 level. And let's just say, like, if it's kind of easy if you use Dr. David Hawkins' map of consciousness, his scale of consciousness. Like at every number, there's like a designated emotion or frequency, or so let's say like the 400 range is like you're still in victim mode in anger or whatever. And I'm paraphrasing here, so if you read the book, which I have, I don't have a perfect memory, so I can't like describe it the way he does, but I'm just giving you like so that you have a gauge to understand. So like if your mom is still in victimhood, still blaming everybody, still doesn't understand that this life is a gift and it's, you know, for us to learn from and grow, she can only see you at that. So everything you do, you're doing to her. So, you know, there's always going to be some sort of blame. There's always going to be some sort of problem. So anyway, so as you keep moving through the movie theaters, and this goes down to the person you met in the grocery store, you know, like you could walk into their movie and go, I met this person for a split second in the grocery store. Like we literally locked eyes. Maybe I smiled at her. You walk in and you look at her movie and maybe she has you pegged as this like rich elitist who doesn't care about anybody, and you're looking at it going, oh my God, like that's not me. Or maybe she has you pegged as this insignificant, uneducated bimbette, and you're like, oh, but again, you've played a role in her movie. And that's kind of all what we do here is if you believe that, which I believe, and again, take what resonates, and whatever doesn't resonate, you can turn this off. You don't have to listen anymore. But I believe as souls, which we are, this right here, this that you see, this hair, this is a meat suit. This is what we embody in order to be on this planet. But what's controlling this body is our soul, our spirit, fractal of light, whatever you want to call it, that connects us, your higher self, connects us to source. Where was I going with this? I get distracted so easily sometimes. So, where was I going with this? I hate when I get distracted. So, give me a second. And there it went. It's gone. Whatever I was going to say went. But anyway, I thought it was important that I kind of elaborate a little bit on the movie analogy, because I feel like once you start to understand that people are not out to get you, and people are not being mean to you or rude to you or whatever, however you perceive them, on purpose or, you know, to hurt you. Oh, because we're souls contracted in. I just see, comes right back around. So the soul that lives inside us, some people believe that our soul is bigger, that this body actually lives inside the soul. But regardless, when we're up there, some people want to call it heaven, or I just call it when you're back with source, you have lessons that you want to learn. And this ties into a whole nother analogy that I can get into, which maybe I won't in this video. Maybe I'll do another one on that. But you know, there's one whole creator that decided to split off, and that's all we are these split off fractals of light, living a human experience and learning and expanding and growing, because that's what consciousness does. It learns, it expands, and it grows. That's it. So we're down here learning and expanding and growing. But in order to do that, we make these contracts before we come in. So I meet with my mom's soul, my brother's soul, whoever else's souls, and we go, okay, so we didn't get this the last time we came in. Like, how are we gonna, this is the lesson I want to learn. So maybe this lifetime, you know, maybe in previous lifetimes, my mom and I weren't mother and daughter. Maybe we were lovers. Maybe we were friends. Maybe we were father and son. So this lifetime we decide, okay, we're gonna come in as mother and daughter. And my mom says, you know, I'm gonna do X, Y, and Z for your growth. And maybe I'm gonna halt my growth for this lifetime. And I'm just gonna be here to be a role in other people's movies to help them. And you contract with everybody you meet, and you make these decisions, and you go, okay. And then you come here completely unaware of these things and have to remember, and you have to navigate. And I think, you know, that's why there are rungs to the ladder. That's why there are steps to ascension, because you have to go through all these things in order to get to awareness and then move into a different, a whole other place of knowing. But anyway, it's been almost 10 minutes, so I don't want this to go on and on forever. I just hope that helps some people, maybe to see more clearly that, you know, the traumas that you have been through have been for your development and are gifts. And the people in your life, those who love you and those who hate you, are all gifts. They are here for your development of your life and your expansion and your growing. And if you can recognize that, life becomes so different. It becomes this beautiful place to experience, and you just, to live in a state of gratitude instead of victimhood is a complete game changer. A complete game changer. Seeing the patterns and seeing the flow of life is so incredible. And I'm pretty grateful and lucky to be at that stage now where I have compassion for everyone and everything. So that's all. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, if this resonates for you, awesome. You can always, whoever sees this, if you want to reach out to me and talk more or you have other questions, that's totally fine. If this doesn't resonate for you, you can just pass on by. There's no need to be angry or aggressive towards me or leave nasty comments, because there's just no point. And I'll delete them anyway, because I don't want to bring negativity to the people who may need to see this, and it may help them. So I hope you all have an awesome, beautiful, lovely day. You'll be in my prayers. I do my prayers 3 times a day, so I'll say prayers for you all. And stay tuned, because I'll be making more of these that will hopefully flow a little bit better as I get more used to talking to myself on these videos. Anyway, have a lovely day. I love you.